The alleged kidnappers demanding $6 million by 7 Eastern. Just moments ago, Savannah Guthrie released this.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock, trying to bring her home, trying to find.
I mean, not to sound like that guy, but maybe you should just give this guy his $3 million in Bitcoin. To be honest with you, if you want your mom back, instead of trying to just search for her and all that good stuff, just pay the man. I'm sorry, but you might just have to pay the man. Actually, the guy to increase it to $6 million in Bitcoin by what they say, like 7 o'clock tomorrow. So I wonder what they're gonna do now.
Her. She was taken and we don't know where.
Oh.
And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation.
Yeah, I can understand.
This is the first time Savannah has spoken directly to the public. Previous videos were mainly aimed at the kidnappers. Many feared Nancy was no longer alive and that negotiations had taken a dark turn after Savannah put this video out on Saturday.
We received your message and we understand.
We will pay.
We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us. And we will pay.
Yep.
This suggested to some that,
you know, the crazy thing is, like, because I was reading up on it today, and they said the FBI didn't even know that she was in contact with the kidnapper. So yes, her family, it was in contact or is in contact with the kidnapper, and they've apparently already been working out a deal. I mean, and the FBI didn't even know about this. I mean, you would expect them to actually be the one, you know, connecting to the kidnapper, you know, with her or for her, but they're doing it on their own. So it's looking like the kidnapper's about to get that $6 million in Bitcoin. And I mean, well, that's not good. That's going to set a bad precedent. Well, we're just going to start kidnapping rich people and asking for ransom and Bitcoin. Don't do that. Don't do that, please.
That the Guthries were willing to pay for the return of their mother's body. But then, late Saturday night, unmarked police vehicles returned once again to Annie Guthrie's house. That's the sister and her husband, Tommaso. Law enforcement stayed for more than 2 hours. Cameras flashed inside the house, and reporters heard loud clanking noises as several items were carried out and loaded into police vehicles. At one point, an agent was seen carrying a silver briefcase, possibly a Celebrite device, typically used to analyze iPhones and computers. This would be the second time investigators brought the device to Annie Guthrie's house. Later, a deputy was seen loading a white case along with a brown bag into a police vehicle. Does this suggest authorities are scrutinizing the family? Does this mean they don't believe their side of the story? We have no idea. It could very well be routine, but with no suspects and the sheriff not ruling anybody out, it does raise a lot of questions. 10:30 at night seems very late to be conducting sudden searches of the sister's house. They must have gotten new information, or perhaps there was something so urgent they couldn't wait for the morning. We assume the Guthrie family's cooperating with authorities. We have no reason to believe they aren't. The next day, Sunday, investigators searched a septic tank behind Nancy's home, looking for possible evidence that may have been flushed. Fox News examined the area surrounding the property. Watch.
Wanted to give you a different point of view. So you've got Nancy's house, it's in the middle, and the lots are large enough for privacy. We walked the front of the properties, and on one side, mailbox to mailbox, it's about 300 feet. On the other side, it's a little closer. But with both the homes that flank her house, there are lines of vegetation, there's space and cactus. And from what we could gather, it appears the neighbors to the back may have the best vantage point to her home.
Authorities haven't even determined whether the ransom notes are legitimate. As far as we know, they could be real or they could be hoaxes. And so far, whoever's sending these messages hasn't provided proof of life. Authorities have said there's been no video or no pictures proving Nancy's still alive and in anyone's captivity.
I'll be real with you, like, bro must be a professional, because a lot of, I mean, bro, they'll be able to figure out where they at from the sound in the video. I mean, bro, you could tell so much just from one little video of just her, you know, showing her face. They can see the lighting, they may be able to see the sound, maybe see what type of area they're in. I mean, there's a lot they can get from a video. So we might be actually dealing with some real deal professionals. I mean, best thing they could do was maybe, like, I don't know, send a selfie of her face. And even then, I doubt they would do that, because that number could be tracked. So we might be dealing with some professionals here if they're, you know, if they're not willing to get in contact. I don't know, but, like, think about it like this. They use Bitcoin, so you can't really track Bitcoin, be real with you. Once you send it to that wallet, it's that, like, that's it. You can't really track it. It is what it is. And then, of course, like, no video. I mean, no phone call, no nothing like that. I mean, hey, I mean, at least they learned from the predecessors who try to do ransoms, because that's how they usually get caught, by sending some type of proof of life.
Although these messages could contain written details that only Nancy and the family would know that prove someone has her. Also new tonight, the FBI is saying it's not aware of any continued communication between the Guthrie family and suspected kidnappers, nor have we identified a suspect or person of interest in this case at this time. There's also a new question about the note itself, which specified that the payment be made in US dollars, suggesting the senders could be outside the country or foreign actors, or the messages could just be written by AI. The sheriff's department, after doing a ton of media, suddenly doesn't have anything to say. The Nancy Guthrie investigation is ongoing. Follow-up continues at multiple locations. No suspects, persons of interest, or vehicles have been identified. No scheduled press briefings. If any significant developments occur in this case, a press conference will be called. So no time for a briefing, but the sheriff did have time for a basketball game. Here he is at the University of Arizona Wildcats game on Saturday, just minutes before Savannah released the video saying she'd pay. So Savannah paid the ransom? We don't know. The deadline just passed. And authorities are expected to continue activity at the Guthrie homes tonight and into tomorrow. Earlier, TMZ reported that the Bitcoin account that the alleged kidnappers were using still appeared empty. Do you pay ransom without proof of life, or do you just roll the dice? These are the heart-wrenching decisions that have to be made.
Want even more Fox News on YouTube?
Yeah, that's the worst part about it. I mean, somebody said in the chat, like, how do we know this is, like, even the, you know, the scammer? Well, not the scammer, but the kidnapper. How do we know? How do we know it's not just a scammer who's trying to, you know, take advantage of this very, well, I mean, very crazy situation. There's people who are effed up enough to do that type of shit. But all right, though, let's go ahead and get into our guy, Sean Hannity, because he brought on our guy, Dan Bongino.
Focus at the Bureau, former FBI director.
Well,
by the way, we welcome him to our Fox family once again, the newest Fox News contributor. He's back.
And he's now the newest Fox News contributor. Of course you are. Of course you are. All right.
The one and only Dan Bongino. You come at this, Dan, first of all, as a friend, number one, number two, but also having now recently spent time on the inside. And it's so easy for people on the sidelines, Monday morning quarterbacks, to be second guessing everything law enforcement is doing. However, I do think a definitive statement like we mentioned, the FBI says they are unaware that Savannah Guthrie was talking with her mom's suspected kidnappers, means they know everything about the communications to this point. What is likely in your mind going on behind the scenes?
Okay, so the FBI was brought in a couple days after there was, you have to have a request for assets to be brought in, or you have to have federal jurisdiction. This was done by request. That's why you saw the crime scene was reopened again. That was the FBI ERT, from what I've heard, going back in, the evidence response team, to take over and do what they do. They do it best. That's all they do, is process evidence at these scenes. So what's going on right now? I see three possibilities, Sean, and I'm not going to weight them. These are three possibilities. If you apply Occam's razor, I see could apply. The first would be, obviously, it's a kidnapping. That was an intended kidnapping for a ransom payment. That would be the first possibility. Again, I'm not weighting any of them. The second possibility would be this was just a crime that went awry. Someone was at the house. Maybe it was a burglary. Something went bad, and that you've got some bad actors committing another crime unrelated. In other words, requesting a ransom for something you didn't do just to take advantage of a situation like this.
Scam.
The third possibility, again, this is and this is where I think you have to kind of think outside of the box, is especially given some of the messaging that we've seen lately, is the possibility that there may have been some kind of maybe a medical emergency or something. And
I mean, you know, there's also the possibility that this could all be fake. This could all be one big scheme to get money from her daughter, maybe. I mean, there's always that. There's always that possibility as well.
This was not a kidnapping.
Praying for that.
And I say that only because, and again, I'm not weighting these possibilities. We're just, when you can't find someone at a crime scene like this right away within the first couple of days, you either have really good surgical type operators, or the story you've been told or you may have believed may not be the story. I mean, think about it. What are the possibilities that there's no LPR trips, license plate readers, that Somex scrubs, social media exploitation turned up nothing, that cast analysis, cell phone analysis, that there's other tools I don't want to really talk about, but I promise they're there. You know, we've used them in cases that none of this stuff was tripped after the Bureau came in and applied all their assets. It's just, it seems really strange.
Let me quote veteran FBI Special Agent Lance Lysing of Arizona, and he said the notes to the media outlets, you know, that part of the investigation now he believes is come and gone. And then he said, in legitimate ransom cases, kidnappers move fast. They establish leverage quickly. Communication begins within hours, not days of an abduction. Proof of life is produced early and often. This case has not followed the history of a typical kidnapping at all.
Could be a scam.
What does that tell you?
Well, there's two conflicting points on this. One, as I told you before, with this relatively what appears to be sterile crime scene, you would have these incredibly skilled, and I don't mean that, of course, in a qualitatively good way, but they have these criminal skill sets that they were able to not leave a trace of DNA, a footprint, a fingerprint, a tire print. Again, they didn't trip a license plate reader, managed to turn off any cell phone type of activity.
That's what I'm saying. It's almost like either a professional did it or this is all one big setup because, like I said, it was done too clean. I mean, you tell me we don't got no damn car leaving the scene. We ain't got nothing. You tell me they did this by hand. I mean, all right, bro, what the F is going on? Did they come from the underground, take her underground? Like, what's going on? We have they can barely find any real footsteps outside of the premises. So, yeah, what's going on? And like I said, this lady could have, I don't know, had an accident. She might just be lost, and these are scammers. This lady might be in on some type of scam against her daughter. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
And then you forget the medication. It just, again, it doesn't seem like that's particularly well thought out. How are you going to go out and get the medication afterwards? It's not that easy to go pop in a Walgreens when you know everybody on planet Earth is looking for someone. I mean, it just seems like a lot of conflicting information. And that's why I say I'm not weighting any of those stories. But clearly at this point, I think we have to consider everything outside the box, because whatever's inside the box is not really panning out right now.
What do you say to the FBI experts that I've talked to, the Sheriff's Department out there, that they're not ruling anything out? And I want to be very clear. I'm not rushing to judgment. I don't want people to rush to judgment. We don't do that on the show. We make a point of not doing that. But 90% of abductions usually involve someone that the abducted person knows. And a lot of times that ends up being family. Now, those are the odds. I'm not making any conclusions, any accusations at all. Just to the contrary, I think we need to be very careful. But those numbers are real. So if you're an FBI agent, that is in your head, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you got to consider that. I believe that was scenario number 2 I discussed, that this was um, an incident that went bad, someone who knew the person, like you said, landscaper, electrician. We had a case in Florida like this before I was in the FBI, way before, but a woman had let a handyman in the house. They found the woman in the septic system. I mean, you have to consider that it was someone in the inner circle as well, that it was a horrible crime. We don't know what happened, and that the distraction may be, in fact, a request for ransom later on to get people off the trail. I'm not telling you it's what happened, but again, when the story doesn't pan out after a couple of days, and I've been on these, Sean, I mean, we handled the Minnesota shooting of the lawmakers. You know, we had the incident up in Coeur d'Alene. I mean, we get woken up, me and Cash, all night on this stuff. I know the assets that get deployed. If you don't find them within the first couple of days, there's something about the story that's not right.
Yeah, it's scary. We're always glad to have you back on the show. Welcome
Yeah,
back.
well, we'll see what happens after that. Well, shout out to Dan Bongino. Like I said, I may not like him for the whole